Good evening from the Kidnapster Diaries. Tonight I am going to discuss lots of different things, most notably spinning. And this spinning mentality based upon the totalitarian worship of popular culture as validating existence, based upon the legal precedences of a bureaucratic nightmare system that seems to be encompassing the society, regardless of the accountability or of the programs that seem to be taking place. It's just thrown things way out of context when you're able to, let's say, these mariners. The world is filled with water, and the mariners are guided by lights, astronomical celestial events in order to see competently those that have the mental capacity to understand. The problem is what's happening is you've got a lot of people that are altering the astronomical celestial insight in order to hide the truth, in order to that goes back into this notion of competition. Competition as the ability to compete at any level to anything. There was a commercial by Geico where it shows this guy, Dikembe Mutombo, who's from Africa, and I think it deals more with the dungeon master actuarial tables more than it has to do with who he is. They were stating multiple levels of fact of what's going on of this game system. People are gambling. You're gambling when you challenge. When you challenge something, you're gambling, regardless of, because of the cataclysmic cost to the system. If you can't, and you've got to validate the ability to do that, and that's part of the problem with what's going on. It's just completely destroyed the world, in my estimation. It's a dangerous precedent. So you've got these astronomical truths. People are guiding by their vessels that are carrying cargo or people and trying to see. But because of this competitive nature of challenging everything, you've got these spin doctors. I call them tweak spinners. It's this math where you supercharge the math. You take a mathematical formula and everything is to the max. You know, that mentality of exploitation to the max to get yours based upon their individuality and the predatory competitive nature and narcissism, vanity. Therefore, that's why vanity is one of the deadly sins. So they're spinning these truths it's the competitive spin. But you've got to look at it from various global perspectives, as in the languages. Interpretation comes from societal norms that are different in every part of the globe and every part of society. So when you're spinning these truths that are guiding certain bodies of goods, it's piracy for the most part. They want them to crash. When you've got distress is salvage. That's the Fred Sanford, Red Fox, that seems to be going on a lot. It's distress. They want to run stuff aground. The sirens call to run a ship aground, and then they send in the buddies to go in and loot the cargo. That's what happened to me. We were hijacked, and we were steered off course. We were crashed, and we're being looted. And there's a lot to loot. We're a big body of assets, and so that's the perpetuation allows for the looting. Not to mention, is we're providing health care because of the turn the other cheek. You get stabbed so many times, turn the other cheek. And that's, again, once you go the upside down. We are living in a society based upon the inverted cross because of the lack of control mechanisms in society. When you look at the Trinity is an important part. There's the blood, there's the church, and then there's the state. for the society. What's going on is the blood is weak, very, very weak blood in this society because they're playboys. They're trying to play, and so they're not necessarily, the accountability issues is why they're weak. As far as the power, the legality accountability doesn't seem to justify the accounting system, as I said long ago. So the only way to validate their power is more money, which is drowning the world because of greed and gluttony. Therefore, other societies are drowning because of the necessity, because of the lack of control, because they've lost control, because of this competitive nature that's going on. And for some reason, and like I said, there's a lot of interpretations of it. If they elect a pope from the southern hemisphere, that's hanging an upside down cross in my estimation, because that's and it's necessary. There needs to be a stronger aristocracy base, and hopefully this will be, because the Americas is scared. They like the current system because they can exploit it. It's free. There's free booty everywhere. It's free Dom Perignon. There's free. And so hopefully by inverting it will change the ideological. But the spinners have a lot of power these days, so you got to watch it. There's a lot of different ways of spinning things, designing alterations of perceptions of what's going on in the world in order to, based upon these precedents. The problem is nobody really wants to talk about it. They like to interpret, and they interpret to their particular brand of principles that benefits them, regardless of the cost. When you usurp authority from another faction, there is a cost. That is a incurred cost. When people are looting my asset bank, it incurred cost to the people that count on my banking facilities. Therefore, it is a multi-dimensional incurred cost. That's one of the reasons. That's most of my motive. And that's why we were sabotaged in the first place. And they try to hide it under the Almighty God umbrella, energy. Energy is their Almighty God, because you can hide anything under the hoop skirt of energy. They love to hide under the umbrella halo hoop skirt because you can make anything up. It's it's the license to anything. And I'm not talking about the energy companies per se. I'm talking about the subsidiary ancillary riders of all the angles of the maximization exploitation. Everybody's got to get theirs, if you know what I mean. I just happen to be a high-value source, and I have been lynched, dragged to a bloody pulp. It goes back to, for some odd interpretation, the mob, because they've had control of us for so long and they're deathly addicted. They are deathly addicted to controlling us because they spent so much money on our wallet and they don't have any money to pay. And their addiction is they're charging. It's a shopaholic addiction, like Confessions of a Shopaholic, but it's really, really bad. And they hide it in a number of factions. So they try to teach lessons. And I call bullshit on I don't mean to bemoan anything. My crass nature is hunger pain. Anything I do wrong, blame it on my hunger pains. And these hunger games. Regardless, like I said, if you're going to play at a table that it's this progressive slot mentality where they're rigging the slot machine. So you've got that's what they're trying to base it on, a progressive slot where you can put in $1 and win $30 million. But in actuality, that's just their loophole to odds. What in actuality is, in order to bet, it's pokermen. They're playing the poker face game, though. Poker face game, you got to have money to call somebody. They're playing, though, they want the progressive slots payout, playing the poker face game. And they're doing a big, crazy song and dance illusion, Burt Wonderstone, of trying to make these bets stick because they've taken control of parts of the casino. They've hijacked parts of the casino, and the casino's doing, not doing anything right. So you've got these people that are playing the poker face game, but they're wanting the payout of a progressive slot. So they want to bet like a few dollars with a $30 million payout while they're playing the poker face because they don't want to have the money to call. In order to call me and match my bet that I'm putting on the table, they don't want to have to match my bet of what I'm putting on the table. So they use the progressive pools, and that's the mentality. I'm losing billions. But nobody's going to match me with billions. It's the progressive slot payoffs loophole there. And so they try to teach lessons, which I call fraud on. I say, no, I refuse. I am done teaching lessons. Regardless of my kidnapped, coerced, brainwashed family. And regardless of if I once went to public schools because we got mismanaged by a bunch of fools who had no idea what they had because of, like I said, the people that fought here have to be LSU, Tulane, Loyola, University of Texas, Southern Methodist, the Texas state schools, and if they want to benefit, and they did a poor job, regardless of this whole, it's the mentality of, well, they're not going to give us any special treatment. Bull! I say that is bull. And, if you're going to try to take $1 billion or $1 billion+ from us, and you're going to make us play a stupid game, that's malicious. That's what's it called? Misappropriation. First of all, there's obvious criminal intent. So just throw them out in the backyards, let the dogs chew on them a while we keep their wallet warm, and then we'll pray to the almighty disease, because that's what handicaps them. And I could care less. Like I said, golf is not God. I do not care about this handicapping notion. I do not care about playing as it lies. I do not care about precedences that were set. That's why the desperate addiction to the kidnapster state of the bubble, the state of the bubble. And so, that is the necessity and the misinterpretation, like this picture behind me, that I have reworked. It was a state of mind, because this was the first time in my life that I had been really on the edge of, just collapse. And so I documented my state of mind. But what the mob does is they interpret that as a mark of precedence. And when they want to use their arsenal to come back and say, well, hey, at one time, so we're gonna ink that and inflict upon you based upon these rigged stack deck actuarial tables. So you let hijackers into the casino. They stack the deck to the house would always pay out, where you didn't have to even match the bet, because you get the progressive slot payout with the poker face game after you stack the deck, where the house loses every time. Same precedence here. So you've got, and it was an homage. It was sort of that kind of Dr. Gonzo piece, where it was a guy looking through the couch, which looked like bars, because I was trapped in a bubble, because I was dead broke, living on people's couches for the kindness of strangers, and couldn't get it, and so then it had all these different mentalities. So what did the mob take this as? Is we're going to force this down this fucking chump's throat. And that's validation. And I mean, literally, these pictures have wasted so much. There was another picture where I had multiple levels. I've been into multiple dimensions for a long, long time. I realized there was a lot more going on and I couldn't really explain it. I was just on an observational thing. The thing about it is and it's hard to explain, because most people are born and they think a certain way their entire life. So their brain learns to function as a child and develops. With me, I was but my brain did not, after I was asleep, for the most part, a zombie. Like Ray Charles, I couldn't see. I was a blind kid, like in Dumb and Dumber. which is an epically brilliant movie. You can't believe you sold that parakeet to the blind kid. I was the blind kid in it for the most part. They conned the blind kid into buying a dead parakeet that they had taped the head on. That kind of mentality. So, I mean, I was literally unable to put things together because I was, first of all, stuck in a regimen of society, a strata of society where I had no control mechanism, even though I was providing a ton of power. And then I was just lost for the most part. So, I take my first regimen of ADHD medicine, and it clicks. Something clicks, turns on, something in my brain starts working. The logical function context changes. But I've already graduated college, so I had to reteach myself how to think. And I spent a lot of time at the library reading a lot of nonfiction books. 500 to 1,000 books. I don't know if I read them all, skimmed them, or whatever. Read a lot of them, though, because I was attuned. So my mind taught myself to think a certain way in this adult context. Whereas most people learned out of it. So I was teaching myself. So the art was inflecting upon my depth perception. It was depth perception that I was seeing. For the most part, when I was a kid, things melted away real fast. And so I didn't have much of a conscience. You could con me into just about doing anything because I didn't think through it, really, because I was just avalanche, sort of, is the best way to put it. You know, it was easy. And so, and people knew this. They knew how to manipulate me, and I was played. So I was set up, even though I did not understand, I was being put into this game grid system. Just thrown out in the yards for the animals to fuck me to death. That's literally what happened. Thrown in the backyard without a wallet. Dead broke, so I couldn't get into real big trouble. So I was just to get, picked up and screwed by anything that could. Therefore, but I was providing health care to those people that were screwing me. So therefore, rather than correcting the problem in the first place, they made their disease worse, trying to claim it as smoking. Then you got the smoking loophole, which I think goes back to the REN 1010, potentially. I repeated 10th grade. When I moved, I went to 9th grade. I went a year of 10th grade. Then when I moved to Texas, the education requirements were totally different. So I was still in 10th grade, even though my senior year I only had 2 classes. But I was always really, really young. I was always the youngest kid in my class because I had a late birthday. And I always looked really, really young. So it was no big deal. We didn't think. I didn't realize that the cataclysmic effects upon this enacted upon. So, 1010, REN 1010. There's also a 1010 as a part of a there's a depth to this 1010 thing with this dungeon program role-playing game language. Mr. Mudd is part of it, which ties into Mr. Mudd Malkovich. Then also 1010 Common Street was built by the same people that built a lot of those Houston buildings. Louis Skidmore, Owing being an O-W-I-N-G. It's not O-W-E-I-N-G, it's O-W-I-N-G. Because a lot of this architecture is built upon debt, bondage, slavery from me. That seems to be, and they're trying to claim that as solid architecture in a solid area of Houston, which is bull. What I'm saying. So that, I think, shaped my world, which is criminal in the first place. It's, horrifically criminal in the first place because it's obviously, that's one of the reasons everybody's hot on it. So you got the 1010 Common Street. Therefore, you're taking Louisiana, which is supposed to be the parish. There's a reason that it's parish. It's a lesson, the principality lesson. But they took me, the eldest heir. Either it's going to kill me or it's going to mutate me into changing the state into the same thing. And therefore, there's all sorts of interpretations upon this. So, the mob gets pissed. I'm forced into, like I said, I've always been really poor, even though I'm a valuable person in this because of the Everybody's All-American, which mutated into All-American Reject, Stillwater, almost famous Oklahoma, Well, it was mostly based upon because of those years I spent with the guys from Oklahoma. And I had friends, a lot of good friends from Oklahoma and Dallas, and the guys I lived with should have been good friends, except I could get no jobs because they were trying to alienate me because they were trying to bury my body for certain reasons. So, it seems that everybody always wanted to use me for revenge, to beautify themselves, because my name was Bo, regardless. And I didn't think anything of it, but it obviously caused me a lot of strife. So obviously they try. It's always the mob tries to do the opposite or different of that. So then it goes back to that song "Disarm" by the Smashing Pumpkins, because I was always that fringe. I was always on the board. I was considered one of them country club kids, but I didn't have any money to protect myself. So therefore, the mob made an example of me because I was always hanging on the fence. And if you don't jump over the fence, you get gutted and hang on the fence. So I was hanging on the fence. So the mob was using me. I had a doctor. The money in my family was generated by healthcare. So of course I was paying reverence, wait around a lot, first of all. And I always had terrible health care. I've never had good health care, even though I probably pay billions of dollars in health care. I have the worst health care because it's based upon people that are screwing me because they did not have the wherewithal because of the competitive nature. They're trying to blame capitalism, as the competitive nature, and they just couldn't help but screw me. Brokeback Mountain sort of mentality. They're addicted to screwing me. So the people that screwed me, I was providing health care for. So then the mob figured this out. So what did they want to do? They wanted to disarm me because they always thought about it as that a knife, a dagger sort of thing, that quill and dagger sort of mentality, cloak and dagger. So they figured out a way, and obviously they wanted to discredit everything is the way of the game. Discredit is how it works. So they wanted to discredit, and they proved that they drugged me around partly to screw my mother and kill or to alienate the family. That's the Columbia bum shilling mentality, because we never were allowed to grow up. Even though we were worth a lot of money, they kept us small so they could ride us or control us because they were addicted. So we were their controlled substance, shrunk down. They were high. That's what the junkies hide in the chemistry. Junkies hide a lot. They build a lot of meth labs right in the middle of chemical plants, and they build a lot of that sort of mentality. Chemistry set. It's like in Breaking Bad, they build it under a dry cleaner. That's the beautifier. I am a meth lab. The beautification cleaning but it's an actuality they're making really good methamphetamine. It speeds things up. That's the tweak spinner doctor. And I'm talking about the method or the representational nature of drugs. So when somebody screws me, that is a representation. That's the same thing as using meth. The meth. That's what you got to understand. There's a correlation because of the absolute totalitarian worship of the representational nature based upon two things. First of all, the body of Christ and blood of Christ is a representational loophole nature, and the representational nature of government. There's a loophole there. That's where the blood is weak. The country club blood law is weak because there's not a representational nature. So of course they're attacking them using both sides, and the country club law has yet to do anything except competitive eating party. They enjoy the Circus Maximus gladiator sort of mentality, even though they should have gotten me out of it. The mob is using me for power, and it keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So they had to now, because it's a lot. They won't just if I rub somebody raw, they don't say anything. They're a bunch of sneaky little bitches, backstabbing bitches that want to wait. They believe in. So they've wasted my life because of stupid things little petty things that I've done, because they're so damn special. It's that Juicehead mentality. because we're all brothers, you know, but they're going to screw me, prove that they're worth the juice that I'm providing. So you got these people, they want to take anything that is my strength and turn it against me. So, wasted the natural, that's the nat gas, born killers. The born identity being, it's this, they're trying to hide under these hoop skirt halos of being secret black ops. But in actuality, if the story ever broke, the authorities would say we have nothing to do with it. They're just bribe and favor by providing energy or doing, like, that's the whole Argo Iranian hostage thing is a beautician to several factions. One, Carter, Georgia, it's a beautician to Carter because they made me a hostage and because of my global influence within the church. Supposedly, St. Louis, all religion is intertwined, and spirituality is intertwined regardless of any of the things. It's the law. They hate the cops. Everybody, just like here, everybody's kind of nervous about the cops, and it seems to be there was some bad things going on. Everybody hates the law. They hate the math, or they hate accounting. That sort of mentality. So that's the premise that's going on. So they're now want me to be like I was forced because I am unable to be independent. I've got to be dependent because they wanted to try to shove me into these little pigeonholes. For some reason, my life is worth wasted to prove that they were not stupid for trying to keep me held back. 10, stunted little ramp. It's a ramp. It's a daredevil bullshit ramp for a bunch of fucking juicehead dopers. And that's all it is. They're juiceheads. That's all it is. That's all it is. And they got to prove. They've gone total roid rage. They're so high they believe it because it's a 24/7 blood transfusion. So the premise of it seems to be they want to turn anything against me. So now what they want me to do is to be reliant upon medicine, just like I was reliant upon medicine. So if I ever want to live my life proper life, they're gonna, they're trying to coax me into all this. Oh, it's just stupidity compounded beyond any comprehension of what could be seen as rational. Yeah, I'd like to audit my body codes. It's all done under the mystery. That's where you get into these black ops, the mystery of religion. There's got to be a separate body for the church and the banking institution and all that stuff. Like I said, they're trying to throw me in as I'm being reverent to the priest. That's one of their loopholes. Is I should be more of a saint, play them, but they don't want me to play because I pay for a lot of others, and they want to bury my body because that goes back to the whole. They wanted to erase Louisiana. Praise Almighty TL. That whole. God, just the stupidest things that you could ever imagine. When history looks upon it, of what's really going on, it's just asinine because this is all based upon Christianity, which the basis of it is forgiveness, but the Juicehead. See, there's a difference between, like, Old Testament Judaism and Juicehead, steroid junkies. See, Juicehead, that's why they call them Juicehead roid rage. Steroid junkies, blood doping transfusion, bro and sis. So, there's a difference between Judaism, Old Testament, eye for an eye, which they're even doing work. They figured loopholes an eye for an eye. That's what they've done is now it's into the communal network. So it's one eye for a million eyes. So I've got to pay for a whole million, and they only pay for one. Wow, that's the deal of the century. To earn. They're making me earn hard the body that I was given, or some, when they're destroying the whole basis of what my existence is in order to they're gambling on trying to jump on the bed gets down. It's a shakedown street. The Grateful Dead record was released on 111, which is that magic number 5. See when you look at it, 1978. 78 was a very happening year. That's the Animal House year plus the 178 being that number. Shakedown Street, and Donna Jean Gotchaws was on it. We all know about Gotchaws. Leon Gotchaws, and Gotchaw was a sugar baron from St. John the Baptist Parish, where my grandmother was born. And he had a department stores called Gotchaws in Louisiana, where the toy was filmed, or was it, which is with Richard Pryor, about the kid who was the toy, which they've turned it around to where I was the toy, even though I should have been a kid, because they wanted to body snatch and take the place of me. And now I'm providing health care. Thank you, Blue Cross Blue Shield. Right, fuck you, like I said. To those that have screwed me, turn the other cheek. Right. See, I should be the one that doesn't turn the other cheek. But this is their manipulation. See, they're trying to play the Jesus card way, way over. They've cashed a ton on this Jesus card. Turn the other cheek while we screw you and stab you again. Even though the Bible that says don't want to lay with other, yeah. So, I mean, there's all sorts of mentality. So, Shakedown Street, they hung me upside down like, they're always trying to discredit me. So, it goes back to Aquaman, and there's several Vanilla Ice. That's, once again, he doesn't have much street cred. You know, he's a pop star sort of mentality who got supposedly hung upside down outside of to sign over his rights to Ice Ice Baby to Suge Knight. Rumor, I don't know if it's true or not. I'm not rightly sure. So they're trying to get me to give away everything to prove that they are the tough motherfucking gangsters, but really they're a bunch of goddamn juiceheads. You know, they're just hooked to the gills. And so, there's that, and then there's the Johnny Drama in Saigon. And there's even a Saigon restaurant in the SunTrust building right across from Levy Jewelry. So, I mean, they are, you know, and it goes back to the Ocean, 111, 213. 213 being, and there's the St. Vincent Jewelry Mart, which is like a big buyer in Los Angeles. It's where the jewelry stores go to buy locally. So, what they're trying to do is that JV lock. They are playing this JV lock to the death, regardless of the criminal conspiracy involved. I mean, this is blatantly criminal conspiracy, the JV lock. Because there's also a saint on it, and my name is Louis, which is the St. Louis. You know, I was born, but no, the mob interpretation is you stay in JV High School Texas Golf and play that Ren 10-10 Cup. You know, 10-10 Common, so they can mutate. That's the mutation of the system. I had a correlation between 10-10 Common, 1010. What was I think of things, so I have so many things going through my head, but it was something to do with the genetics of smoking causing alterations in the genetic propensities. And that's one of the reasons I think you see a lot of these bans on smoking globally. So, it's alteration. But the 10-10 being, what was that? I'm not really sure what it was. There was something, I'll think of it again in a minute. So, they're hanging me upside down. Johnny Drama, of course, the joke of the family, because I know, of course, I ain't Aquaman, the currencies. Yeah, that sort of mentality, you know, always the struggling joke of the family sort of mentality. It's these crazy, and I can see how the mob thinks, because I know how they think. They're real blatant and obvious. They're malicious little bitches. So, I mean, it's real easy to interpret what a malicious little bitch would think. You know, what would a malicious little bitch think? Yeah, it's not hard to figure out what's that sort of loophole. They're always trying to desecrate and discredit. So you look at any angles of correlation that have been inflicted upon me as a kidnapped hostage, vulnerable, the big B, vulnerable victim. So, because of these locks and keys, there we go. The St. Vincent is a school of St. John the Baptist Cathedral, a block away. Today, the Monsignor quit, which is supposed to be a sign, but the spinners figure out ways, loopholes in the whole mentality. So, they are figuring ways to manipulate and lock me out. The fool and his wallet are soon parted. And the JVV is a big one that they are playing to the bone, which was playing to the bone. He also did 10 Cup, wow, Bull Durham, and a few of the others. So you've got, oh, Shakedown Street. It really is. I'm being held out down, and they're shaking, and it's Mardi Gras. All the jewels and cash are falling down to the sky, or the pinata. Hard candy falls out from, that I get beaten in hard candy because I am vulnerable, unable to protect myself, to be fair to those that are screwing me, because turn the other cheek, Blue Cross Blue Shield, fuck you, provides insurance to who screws me. Because they just couldn't help themselves, and they are so damn juicehead, valuable, important. Wow. Yeah, So, Donna Jean Gottschall was involved. Steal Your Face, or the Melt Your Face. Raiders of the Lost Ark, which was ROTLA, Rot LA, and they melted the face off. What they did with me is they just wait and wait until my face melts off. Then, if I want to play, I gotta go give me plastic, to be reverent to the plastic, the face. It's all about proving that by them acting smart and able to control, being deemed, because possession is 9/10 of the law, and they possess me, kidnapped, so they get to utilize me in any way, capacity, or shape, or form. So therefore, it's manipulating them. So that what they really want to do is make me waste my life. I suffer mentally until my physical body starts, the physical pain starts. So they'll get mental pain. It's the MP. Mental pain, then physical pain. MPPP. Some bullshit. That's how the mob thinks, at least. So, steal my face, melt my face. There was a song called France on there that was the second song on there. And All New Minglewood Blues was song number 9. And so, like I said, this was done on 1/1/1, which is a magic day. Larry Flint Hustler was born 11/1. But Ezra Cornell Day, my mother's birthday, is 1/11. So 1/1/1/5/1978. So then we go into the lynching switch whip, bait and switch. So what they did was to beat me because I pay. They don't forgive the Jesus here, or the playing that Jesus. Like I said, I think of myself more as a cathedral, the St. Louis Cathedral that's been burnt down for a marshmallow roasting orgy, bonfire. And so you got these lynching switches. And what they did was they pulled a bait and switch to where I pay, so I get beat with all these inflicted wallops. The trading places is a bait and switch in order to punish me, to be reverent and provide energy and beautician and healthcare and free energy, anything and everything. So what they've done is in order to do this, they had to distribute all my power. So it's set up in a multiple layer here. And the problem is they're not doing anything to fix the problem, because it's affecting the entirety of the global economy, because they don't necessarily care, because they are playing with a global bank. They're thinking locally. They don't give a fuck what happens to the local bank. All they care about is getting fat and looking like they're the master. So you've got the Methodist is involved in several ways. John Wesley statue here, where I'm supposed to have an interview at the Pink House at 11:30 on 311 tomorrow, right across from Conga Street and the Lucas Theater. Of course, they want me to wait. That goes back to the biggest loser mentality. If I'm hot, my ascension is to serve these special VIPs, because they are so fucking special. Because I got shot by the mob, and they worship the mob. They don't worship, they worship the pews. They don't believe in amen. They believe in amen. They put the Lord's last. That's what church for these people is. That's a dead Jew. That's all Christianity is. Jesus is a dead Jew to a lot of these people. That's their secret. That's their holy secret, for the most part. And so it's a hunting. It's a hunting club. That's all it is. You get free food and wine. Woo! Just go in there and fake it. Act act like something. You can make shit up all you want. All they care about is the Holy Spirit. That means we can shoot that motherfucker dead and steal his wallet for Jesus. Praise the Lord. So, you've got this, on one side, Methodist, where Centenary Methodist Church, the founder of the university that I graduated from graduated from Centenary Methodist, being John Wesley. So therefore, who cares? That's where it goes in. It doesn't matter who I am, because I graduated from a college. Therefore, the college is more important than the body. The body doesn't matter. That means the system is God. And that proves it right there. So the Methodist, not to mention my sister went to SMU, which is a better Methodist school, which is still being paid for by this the Caldwell faction, whoever that happens to be, that ties into Wheaton. So anything that's above him is above me 2 levels. So they get a better, they've stacked the deck. They've stood on my shoulders, even though I'm way up there. I would be a really high ranking, but they wanted to be, they are high as a kite. That's what I've been telling. So you got Methodist communion lording over, and they're addicted to keeping me stuck down in there paying the bills, because I have a big fat wallet globally that's going good. So the Episcopal goes into my sister's wedding, so the church oversaw her wedding, so that validates their communion and puts certain levels above them, and this is all based upon rank game. Then you got the Presbyterian, is where my mother was married in the Presbyterian church. The Presbyterian ties into Cornell on 69th Street in Manhattan with the Weill Cornell. Weill Sanford. Wow, what a coincidence. Obviously, this was premeditated. I'm just a batter. Like I said, I just want to get my cut of the heist. Where's my cut in this bank robbery? I was the insider, but they had to kill the source, to try to. They have to try to sell it as Christianity. They're putting the hard sell on it as Christianity when it's just a big heist, looks like. Then my mother's family was Baptist. That's where my uncle's side's playing in on that side. So you've got that validated and all sorts of things. And I'm not saying the church is a bad thing. I'm saying by not allowing, they're obviously unable, they don't have the competent judgment by allowing this to happen. Because this goes back to when I was a child. I mean, we were steered from when we were children. It's known commodities. Regardless, like I said, what was going on was, what they're doing is they're intercepting the handoff. They were in the backfield. They busted through the line. They're in the backfield. They intercepted the handoff, and they're running with the booty for the score. Transfer of assets, because the church screwed up. They intercepted France, and Louisiana is taking it. They destroyed the Armageddon. I am English and French and part Jewish. But they treat me like I'm a fucking Nazi. That's the way honestly, that's the way I am, English and French. But that doesn't matter. My grandparent, father, and my father were in the military and members of the American Legion. But hey, we're not, we're traitors, that sort of, because we want our money. But instead we get nothing, and we will like it. We're going to pay for all this fucking bullshit that's going on. So, like I said, too much revenge, because Juiceheads are addicted to the juice. It's not, like I said, there's a difference between Judaism, Old Testament mentality, eye for an eye, which they even exploit, and Juicehead, steroid, anabolic steroid, revenge, HGH. And it's even worse than steroid. I mean, it's so much more worse. I mean, it's beyond all comprehension. So, I think I got a lot covered there. Yeah, that'll be it for this evening.